Hello, my Zentangle friends. This is Barbara Langston, CZT, Certified Zentangle Teacher, and welcome to the Not Perfect Zen channel. I'm very grateful to be here. I'm grateful for spring and that it's so beautiful outside here in Southeast Texas. Today, I'm going to use oops, sorry about that. I hit my stand, a Micron 01 and a graphite pencil and a blending stump. And I'm going to show you the pattern called Balo. I'm not sure how to say it, by Vicki Bassett, CZT. And this is a pattern that's new to me, and I've really enjoyed playing with it. This is one that I did on a 5 tile, and on the side I have henna drum, and the other one is called Lolo. Okay, so that one is called Lolo, and that's a different variation that I tried, and I'm going to do it on this tile that I've just kind of put some color on it for fun. I was coloring some pages in another book and didn't want to waste the color that I had, so I just got out a couple of these tiles that I've cut to go into my disc binding system, which looks like this with the discs at the top. And I just really love organizing my tiles that way. Sorry, I still have a little bit of a cold, but I'm going to try not to do too many sniffles or sneezes while we do this. Okay, so for this pattern, we're going to start with, it doesn't require this, but I like to do it. There in the center, let's just try to kind of find center. I'm just going to make kind of a guideline across. My tile is 4 inches by 4.5 inches. I'm going to put another line just very lightly, just above that, and another one below it. And we're going to start by putting zigzags across this line. So up, down, trying to make them even, but if it's not, it's okay. Oh, that one's a little wiggly. That's okay. I'm going to let that one stop there. And the next thing we're going to do is mirror that. And so we're going to go all the way across with the same lines. And what I like to do to make them even is come down from the center and then make that line. And then I come to here and go again. So from there, come back. Until we get all the way across. I wanted to do this as a bookmark for my granddaughter, but I kind of messed up the paper. So we'll just do it as a tile. Okay. Then across that way. Okay. So we just have the 2 zigzag lines, and I'm going to get my kneaded eraser, and waiting just a second to make sure that that is dry. And then I'm just going to erase that line because we don't need it. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is just decide which end you want to start with. And let's just start here. And I'm going to complete this line going in this direction. And then I'm just going to add 2 more lines. Zoom in a little bit. And then I'm going to continue doing the same thing. I'm going to complete this one and then add 2 more lines. I'm going to turn, do the same thing here. So we're just going to keep going across, turn it, finish that line. And you can see here that line right there is a little bit wavy. That's okay. So one of the variations that she shows in the step outs is that you could fill in one of those to add striping. But I'm just going to keep it like this. Like I said, I may still do it one more time for my granddaughter. She'll be 9 next month. And she's really enjoying reading, which is fantastic. Okay, last one. All right, so we have that all the way across. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it sideways like this. And I'm going to start here and just add an arc across here between each one of these. And again, I'm not going to worry if they're not exactly the same. And then here on this end, I'm just going to take it across. Then I'm going to turn and do the same thing here. So bring that one over and then do the same thing on these. Oops, sorry, there we go. Almost to the other edge. All right, so what we're going to do inside of these is add some petals. And there's different ways that you could do this. So we kind of have a V here coming up, almost like the ice cream cone. Okay, so what I'm going to do is come up, kind of make a petal, and then use that as a guideline. I like to divide this in half after I put that first petal, and then just round these like that. Okay, the other thing that you could do, come in like this, and you have your little curve, you could just divide it this. Okay, and then just round the top. And then after you add that rounding, fill in that dark spot. Sorry, that was a little bit sloppy in here, but you see what I mean. Or let's do it one more time. So you do what is easiest for you. You could start the way that I did it. Draw a petal, come back up, draw a petal. Same thing on this side. Like that. Okay, so 3 different ways that you could do that. So we're basically just going to add some petals on each one of these. Okay. So I'm going to start in this one. And I like to do my center one first. Come up and add another one. And then basically here, I'm just kind of rounding that one off. Do the same thing here. Okay, so we're going to do that all the way across. Try not to go too slow on these, since it's very repetitive. Okay. I'm going to start at the top of these because I don't want that fat line. It's because I'm picky. It's called being a recovering perfectionist. I'm trying to make them about the same size, but if it's not, it's okay. And again, we're filling in this top wherever you have a little bit of space left. Remember to relax your hand, relax your shoulders, breathe. I think it's so funny when I have watched exercise videos, which I haven't watched in a while, where they tell you breathe. Breathing is important. Yes, it is. Relaxing is important. Okay, so down here on this end where I started, I'm just going to put like half of that petal, that center petal, and then go ahead and add my other 2 petals to the side. and fill that in. Okay, so now we're going to turn it and repeat. So I'm in a group on Facebook, and unfortunately they reached their limit of 1,000 people, but it's called Tangle 365, and the administrators have tangle patterns for each day of the month. And so far I've kept up, and I've learned some fun new patterns like this one. Occasionally there's one that I don't especially like, but that's okay. I'm still practicing each one and putting them in one of my disc binders. I think, did I say the group is closed? Anyway, and I had hoped that I could share the list, but they asked us not to, but I can share the patterns with you, my favorite ones. Let me fill in the top. Like each one of these I've done a little bit differently. Oh, that one was skinny. Okay, almost there. All right, so now we have that, excuse me, all the way across. And next we're going to put these little orbs all the way across on the sides. And my personal goal is to have one here in the center. And then I'm going to work this one back in this direction. And now we're just going to put orbs all the way across. Trying to make them about the same size. And as I get close to this, I'm going to try to leave enough room for the same size orb down in there. I think it just makes it a little more symmetrical or balanced. I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. This one may be a little bit bigger. That's okay. Okay, kind of squished one in there. And this side won't matter because it's going off the tile. Okay, and then along here, if there's any of the white space left, we're going to fill that in. Okay, a little bit here. And now we're going to do the same thing on this side. Okay, I'm just filling in those few spots where the background is showing through. This is my favorite way to color a tile. I just a watercolor background. Well, that kind of smushed bad. I can't talk and draw at the same time, apparently. Okay, let's just put a bigger one there. Now, if you happen to have some pastel chalk pencils, you could put various colors down in here for shading. But I'm going to show you just with graphite pencil. You could also come back and shade it with a watercolor pencil, watercolor pen. Okay, so back that out just a tiny bit. There we go. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is add some shading. And since this is going kind of fast, I'll show you something else you can do with this. I'm going to actually show you another pattern. So at the bottom of these petals, I'm just adding some graphite where all the lines meet. My blending stuff and just soften out. Okay, you could also, like on this one, I added a little bit of shading right here, but in her step out, this is the only place that she shows it. So I'm going to leave it like that and see what we think. We could always come back, like I said, put a little bit of shading where these go under or meet up with the others. Okay. Along the edge in her step out, she put shading all along here. You could put another aura, and I think that's what I'm going to try. I haven't done that, so let's see how it would look if we add, let's just put a simple aura. I don't want to have to scallop each one of these. And this was kind of unplanned, so I hope it looks good. Return that and do it on the other side. So far, I like it. Oops, sorry. And as I'm going along, I see where I missed a couple of spots. As always, I enjoy these repetitive patterns that are easy to remember and easy to do. I like that. So now let's put a little bit of shading along here. And I think this would be really pretty with like dark pink pastel chalk. Maybe even red, but I think red would be too bright. So let's just stay with the graphite pencil. Okay, now I'm going to soften that. Hopefully you don't hear my dog snoring in the background, but I'm very happy that she's asleep. Okay, I'm going to soften it on the other side. All right, I like it. Okay, so come along here and soften that a little bit more. And I don't like that these look like a straight line inside of here, so I'm just going to soften them a little bit more. Okay, I think that's better. Awesome. Okay, excuse me. The other pattern that I want to show you is also in the Tangle 365 patterns that they've given us, and it's called LaBel by Sue Jacobs, and she's a CZT. And this one is done with focus, okay, with very simple. You do a 6 and just curve in, but don't touch. Now come off the back of that. So kind of like come off there and do a backwards 6. And then we're just going to keep repeating that. So we're going to come off of this one and just almost like a 6. Again, come like that. And then you just keep going like that. Now the way she does it next, and this was one of the patterns that was given in February with hearts, because she does a little heart with a dot at the top of each one of these. Okay. Another way that I've done it is to make it look almost like a little bud. And I put a little dash inside of it. But I thought for this, since we have this kind of pattern going, that we could just come in here and put 3 little petals. One, 2, 3. Okay, I think that would match with this fairly easily. So I'm going to do that across here, and I enjoy having a little bit of a guideline. So just very softly there. And on the other side too, right? And we're just gonna start here with our little loop. Again, we're coming off the back of that. And come back this way, do it again. Make them as big or as small as you would like. But I am trying to make them about the same size. Mine are very rarely exactly the same on any patterns that I do, but again, the point is to enjoy what you're doing. We're not trying for perfect. And we're just going to let that one go off the page. All right. So let's go back up here. Trying to keep my hand out of the way. And I'm going to make the first loop and bring that one. Okay. Zoom in, see if that helps. All right, so I'm going to make my first petal, and then this one you can just have it touch. So just a little curve there makes it look like you have another petal. It's been a long time since I did this pattern, so I enjoyed seeing it again. Okay, let's turn and do the other side. That one's definitely different. All right, we're gonna let that dry and then I'll come back and take off that line. All right, let's start on this side and do the same thing. I'm hoping to get about the same number of these little curves. Well, that one got kind of fat. And that one's going to go off the page. Oops, sorry. Okay, so coming back to this side, I'm going to add my little petals. Okay. Now we're going to turn and do the other side. This one is going off, but we're going to go ahead and kind of add a partial flower there. I like simple ribbons like this that you can add to your tile. And I think you would almost have the flower coming right here. Okay, so I'm going to go to this side. Let's zoom out a little bit and get my kneaded eraser, and I'm just going to very gently remove that line, and again very gently down here remove that one. And as far as shading, we could put just a touch of shading at the bottom of each of these, like we did on these flowers. You probably won't see it, but I'm going to try it anyway. Again, these might be pretty in a different color. I tell you what, this is almost filling in, so let's just do that. Definitely would be pretty with a pastel pencil. But I think that a little bit of shading kind of helps to match what we have here. Okay, let's zoom out just a little bit. Turn this right side up. The other thing that you could do if you have a jelly roll pen. Oh, I'm sorry. Like I did on this one, let's go ahead and try that. So I have a jelly roll tin, and I'm just going to go along, make sure it's working, and just add a dot of white inside each of these circles. It'll help this stand out like it did on my other tile. Okay. And turn and do the other side. And I apologize if I was off the screen on any of that. This is very simply just putting the white inside each of these little circles. You know, when I'm watching Maria, they just finished up Project Pack 17. She's always looking for something to do to add some kind of enhancement to her tile. I'm just curious, where we had this little dot up here, how we could possibly enhance this. Nah, maybe I'll just leave it. I want to put some white down there, but I'm not sure what I would do. Either put a dot above each flower. Let's do that. Let's just put a little dot above each of the little flowers. And I'm trying to be very careful not to touch these, okay, because they're probably not dry. How am I going to do it? Okay, right there. So let's just put a little dot. I don't know if these are going to show up. If they do, fine. If they don't, oops, sorry. All right, now I'm going to do the other side. Again, trying to not touch where I've put the jelly roll so that it doesn't smear. Well, it's an interesting effect. Cool. Kind of brought it together, I guess. All right, so let's back that out just a little bit so you can see the whole tile. All right, there you go. So that was Balo and LaBel. I'm gonna cap my jelly roll pen and put my mark, my chalk. There's my L, bee, another bee, dot, dot, dot. All right, thank you. I hope you enjoyed this. It was kind of impromptu and it changed as I went along, and I hope you had fun with it. Please hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't, and I hope that spring is coming to your area. Hope that you have had a great weekend, have a great week ahead, and I will see you next time. Thank you. Bye.